Hi YouTube family and friends, it's your girl Kat. Today I'm going to be bringing you another fall DIY series, home decor, with all products you can purchase from the Dollar Tree. And guess what? It's not just going to be one decor piece today. No. I'm not bringing you one. I'm not bringing you two. I'm bringing you 4 pieces. But if you like this content and you're new and you're stopping by, hi, welcome. My name is Kat. And if you like home decor pieces, and you like home renovation, everything on a budget, because we're budget friendly here, please consider subscribing to my channel. If you like this video, please give me a big thumbs up and leave a comment down below. Which one's your favorite? I have a favorite, but I'm not going to tell you. You have to keep watching. So without further ado, let's get to it, you guys. So for the first DIY, it's going to be a neutral pumpkin decor piece that you can display outside your home. And you can use any paint you have on hand. What I had on hand was some samples of paint that I purchased from Home Depot that I never really used, and I just wanted to make use of them. And right now what I'm applying is some primer, because I thought that for some reason perhaps the paint wasn't going to adhere well to the pumpkin, but you know what, I decided to take the chance and use the latex paint, and it actually came out pretty well, opaque. So with one coat of paint, it pretty much covered the orange completely. So I'm just painting the pumpkin all the way around and just pretty much leaving the bottom of the pumpkin bare, because what I'm about to do next requires gluing, and I just again wanted to make sure that what I'm gluing is going to adhere well to the pumpkin, and I didn't want that paint to make it not stick. So when I purchased cotton twine from the Dollar Tree, and I measured out about 11 to 14 inches. And there's actually a quicker way of doing this, but for some reason I only showed you this on the scene. So I ended up cutting 6 pieces for the thinner braid and 12 pieces for the thicker braid. And I'm just doing a regular braid here. There's nothing special about this braid. And what I did here was pretty much glued one of the thicker braids down and made like a peace sign, or a third of the way. And in between the thicker braids, I glued down the thinner ones. Any excess pieces towards the top of the bottom of the pumpkin, you're going to want to cut that off completely, and make sure you put enough glue so that way it won't unravel or the braids won't fall off. after I glued the last piece, I went ahead and painted the bottom of the pumpkin, and any spots that happen to be showing through, you want to make sure that you paint that too. You don't want any orange peeking through, you guys. So these pieces are pieces that I repurposed. They came from the bunches of the maple leaves that I will be doing on one of these projects. And I just thought with the curve of that, I'm not even sure what to call this piece, but the curve of it, it just looks so perfect to go on the top of a pumpkin. So I ended up painting it with a darker gray look, and I ended up gluing it to the top of the pumpkin. And I don't know about you guys, but I think these pumpkins came out stinking cute. Guys, now for the second DIY. I wanted to do a fall garland, but I noticed at Dollar Tree their garlands are pretty sad looking. And I wanted a lighted up garland. I didn't want just a plain Jane one, and I didn't want to buy a garland and then also buy fairy lights. So what I ended up doing, I had these Christmas lights that were in a different color shade. They happened to be brown, so they were brand new in the package. And I was like, hey, you know what? Why not? Let me take these brown Christmas lights and just reuse them for this fall garland. So I ended up purchasing or needing 2 packets of these fall leaves that you see me using here, and I'm pretty much just gluing both sides of the leaves to every light. And I started off doing it this way with the color patterns. I just went, you know, red, orange, yellow, green, all the way through. And you're gonna notice here that there's gonna be some pieces that are missing, but I ended up using these maple leaves that I was talking to you earlier about. And some of mine actually came pretty crinkled and smushed. So this is a great hack. Just take out your flat iron or your regular iron and just, you know, iron them down. It only took a few seconds to get these leaves straightened out. I know having them crinkle gave them a much more natural, realistic look, but I just thought it would ruin my garland, so I wanted them to be at least somewhat straighter looking. So I ended up cutting or snipping the ends of these and then just arranging them in color. And for all the empty spaces that were in between the lights, I just pretty much ended up, you know, filling them out. So I thought these maple leaves really muted the bright colors from those packets. So I ended up using 2 bushes of the maple leaves. And I'm just going down the garland, down the wires, making sure I just sporadically change different colors and different directions. I wasn't doing anything special. We'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays, and on we'll go. And I still felt like this garland needed something else, so I went ahead and for my first video I had 1 bunch of yellow sunflowers and 1 bunch of orange sunflowers left, so I went ahead and reused them, or use what I had, and I just pretty much eyeballed them and separated and divided it equally in between the length of the garland And in between the yellow pieces, I went and glued down the orange pieces.
The way melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest.
I actually noticed that there were some pieces that kind of were pasted on the opposite side, so I went back and pulled them off and just re-glued them. And that's pretty much it for this garland. It was much more fuller than the ones from Dollar Tree, and they light up, so I thought this was a really cute piece.
Through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
DIY number 3, neutral fall wreath. Now, in my first video, I did do a fall wreath, but it was a wreath that had a bunch of color, and now I'm just pretty much catering to people who like more of a neutral color look to their home decor pieces. And I'm using oak leaves that you can purchase from the Dollar Tree. We purchased 5 oak leaf bunches. 1 bunch of, I didn't actually use this heather bunch, but I did end up using this wheat bunch that you see here. And then I used 1 bunch of bittersweet stems. And then 1 pack of these pumpkin skewers. So for every bunch of oak leaves that I ended up using, I snipped about 3 pieces from every bunch and I put them aside. And I also bent the entire stem portion of it. I give it a curvature look because we are going to be making the shape of the wreath out of these bunches. So right here, I'm just trying to form the shape of the wreath. And I'm pretty much just using Floral Wire to tie the bunches together, and I'm shaping out the wreath. And for the extra stems that I put aside, I ended up using pulling out 3 leaves and just sticking them into 1 stem, and then for every space that seemed empty, I just pretty much tied it down to all the empty spaces there. I wanted this wreath to look full. I didn't want it to be bare, so I went ahead and used everything I had on hand. And now I'm just fluffing up as I go to make sure the wreath looks nice and full. And now I'm going to be snipping some wheat stems from here. And I'm just adding them sporadically throughout the wreath. And I'm not really hot gluing them. I'm sticking them in between the spaces where the wire is at. And I'm sticking it in between. I felt like I didn't need any glue to add on here because they felt pretty sturdy. And here I'm actually, for every wheat stem in between them, I added bittersweet stems in between, and doing the same thing, just sticking them in between the wire. Okay, and so you will have to glue the pumpkins. Unfortunately, that's not something you can just be sticking through because it will not stick with the wires. You will need to glue the pumpkins down. And I actually needed 5 pumpkins, and I pretty much arranged them equally within the wreath. That pretty much completes the look. Hello Autumn sign. And what you'll be needing for the sign is 4 plaques from Dollar Tree. You're going to be needing some spackle. I ended up printing out the letterings, and you're going to need some glue and scissors and then the paint of your choice. Here I'm just pretty much removing all the welcome pieces in front of the plaques and removing the twine and the staples at back. Please be careful when removing them. I know you see me use a knife, but be careful. And then I'm just pretty much sanding them down because I do want a smooth surface. Sometimes when you purchase these plaques, they do curve. Just make sure you pair 2 pieces that curve together in the same direction. And here I'm just hot gluing it with some glue. And you're going to want to use popsicle sticks, jumbo popsicle sticks that you can purchase from Walmart. I ended up using these welcome signs that were in front of the signs. It didn't work out too well. I ended up having to remove them and adhering popsicle sticks to the boards themselves because they just weren't sturdy enough. They made the boards really flimsy, so that was my mistake. Don't do my mistake. And here you see me add some spackle in between the boards, and you saw that I added a thin layer of spackle. You're actually going to want to go thick on the spackle. Don't go thin, go thick. Let it dry completely and then sand it smooth, and it'll look better. You won't see the seams in between the 4 boards. It's just going to look like one seamless board. Right here you see me sanding it down completely, but I actually went back and added more spackle because I did want a seamless look. I didn't want it to appear like 4 pieces of wood boards that I just glued together. I just wanted to look like one long piece. Dried somewhat. I don't like to do this when the paint has completely dried. Some people do. They like to do what is called a dried brush stroke to give the board a wood grain look. So I like to do mine when it's a semi-wet and semi-dry, just right in between. It just gives it a much more blended look. And so you're welcome to print out any printables of your choice. You're welcome to use any font you like. But what I ended up doing was I didn't have graphite paper at hand, so I ended up using a pencil and just shading darkly behind all the words and the letters. And right here I'm using this paint marker from Dollar Tree. I believe they still have some. I did check the other day and I saw some still. I guess it just really depends on which Dollar Tree, but you can ask the people that work there if they carry that in your store. If not, you're welcome to use a Sharpie. It works just the same. And for the look I was going for, I wanted to say hello autumn, and I wanted some branches peeping through, but I was really afraid with the type of font that I had, the branches was going to clash and you weren't going to be able to read the letters with the branches, but it actually did work out to my benefit. I felt like this sign actually pretty much had this look of Sleepy Hollow, and I actually love that era when it comes to their penmanship. I think they had beautiful penmanship back then. So if you like, I would suggest later you will be seeing me glue down some fall leaves. I would suggest to perhaps use double-sided tape or film tape to glue down the leaves, and you can actually use the same sign for Halloween. Don't make the same mistake that I did. I totally forgot to Mod Podge the sign. You're going to want to do that because this will be outside, and this is somewhat of some sort of particle board. It will soak up the water quickly and ruin the sign and all your hard work, and you just don't want that. So Mod Podge pretty much seals this board, and you're going to want to do that. So don't make the same mistake I did. Here I just grabbed 2 sizes of pumpkins from the Dollar Tree, and I ended up painting one. I wanted a muted look. I didn't want a look that was too bright or overbearing. I wanted the leaves to pop in color and everything else be muted but still pretty. I'm making this pumpkin right here like a cream color, and I'm using the same brown shade that I used in the other pumpkin to define the shape of the pumpkins and making the lines and adding more shade to it. And to complete the pumpkin looks, I'm adding some maple leaves with some maple berries on top. I felt like 2 leaves, 1 brown and one orange and 1 green really made it pop. It wasn't too much color. It really gave it a fall look. And that's it, you guys. This completes my 4 DIY fall decor that you can display outside your home. If you like this video, please give me a big thumbs up. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing to my channel. And leave a comment down below which decor piece was your favorite. I love them all, but my favorite was the Hello Autumn. And I can't wait to see if any of you guys get inspired and recreate any of these looks. If you do, please leave a comment down below. But thank you again so much for watching, and I love you guys, and see you next time. Bye.